Hey everybody, it's Molly again. I know, it's the next day. Listen, Nancy and I, yeah. Okay. Anyway, look here. I finished this one. Do you recognize it? It was the very first one on the top left of your pattern. No, it wasn't. It was the one on the top right. Okay, look here. It's this one, right here. Alrighty, I finished that one. And then I went on, here's what the back of it looks like when you do across in both directions. Alrighty. So you fold it, you clip. See, it's just clipped. Can you see that? Clipped. Alright, clip. And you fold. All right, and I think I showed you that on the other video, but I'm happy to do another one here so you can watch me sew it. I wish I knew how to zoom that thing in. But I'm going to take, okay, now I'm going to take this one, I'm going to flip it that way. I'm going to push it that way, which will be easier after I clip the next one. I'm going to tell you, if you find that you're having a hard time flipping anything in the other direction, it's because you need to clip something. And don't worry about clipping too much because it's going to get caught in the seam, in that little 1/4 inch seam you're doing. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm going to fold that one this way. Can you see that? And let's see, this one goes this way. This one goes this way. That one's okay, and that one's okay. All right, see that? Can you see all my seams folded? All right. And I'm telling y'all, this is addictive. I sat here and knocked these out this morning because I had to go home and feed my husband. And I cut those top 3 off the big sheet because I got tired of wrestling with it. But if you ironed all of yours on the big sheet, then, you know, the instructions say leave it all on there. I didn't. I'm a rebel. Okay, so you see, la 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 la. All right. So work your way down, and then I went ahead and cut this one off. So now I've got one, I've trimmed all the way around the edges, and I've pressed it flat using a press cloth. Use a press cloth, okay? Use a press cloth. All right, now, I've also gone and I cut my one piece of muslin, and I cut my background. This is going to be the bottom of your pincushion. This is your lining. You want your lining, when it's all said and done, to be up against this. It just gives it a little bit of extra protection. Also, they talk in the instruction about using walnut shells. I've never used walnut shells. It has something to do with weight in a pincushion. I've never done that. Some of y'all may have. I've made a lot of pincushions. I've never used walnut shells. All right, but to make this work, you got to put, hang on now, we have to think this through, don't we? So if we're going to do it this way and then we're going to turn it right side out, we got to think this through a minute, don't we? So let's think about this. If we're going to do it this way and then we're going to turn it, it needs to be like this. So you got to make your sandwich, kind of like when you're doing a quilt sandwich. So it's a good thing we used a whole bunch of colors, isn't it? And I'm going to put a few pins on this. And I cut it bigger on purpose. And I measured it. Now they talk about this final piece being 6 inches. I don't see how this could have ended up being 6 inches unless you did smaller than a 1/4 inch seam. And you could go around this You could go around this and sew an extra piece of fabric around it and make it bigger if you wanted to. I don't know that it's something I would do. All right, so I'm putting, if you notice here, I put 2 pins on this side. And the reason I'm doing that is that's just to kind of give me a visual cue that this is going to be the side that I'm going to turn, that I'm going to leave a little opening on this side. And this is also a side where I've basted it, so it's got a little bit of reinforcement. I want you to see I've basted this seam right here. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to finish here. Okay? I'm also going to turn down my stitch size just a little bit. And I'm going to back stitch. You always want to back stitch. Do not stitch over pins. People who do that are not real bright, in my opinion. And I'm using a tiny stitch just because I don't like things to come apart. Like I said, Nancy and I had a fun time putting this together yesterday, and then it just got late in the day and we stopped. So that's why she's not here with me right now. And I'm making sure that my basting stitch is on the outside of my seam allowance so that it won't show on the finished product. And I have a knee lift, but I'm not using it. If y'all have a knee lift, these corners are a great opportunity to use that. See, like right here, use my knee lift. Okay, and now I'm coming back to my beginning, and I'm gonna go right here, and I'm gonna back stitch. Clip my threads. I don't know why people leave thread tails on stuff. I do not like sloppy work. Okay, now here's my opening right here. Okay, yeah, I know it's not a big one, but it don't have to be too big. And I'm gonna clip my excess thread. My excess fabric. Okay, I'm gonna trim that off. Then I'm going to do one more thing, and it does not call for this in the instructions. Clip your corners too, but not through. This is our opening edge, okay? I know we like to save little bits, but we don't need those little bits. And then I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go and put a zigzag stitch on here, and I'm going to go from my opening side, from where I started, and I'm going to go all the way around, and I'm going to zigzag. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to stuff the dickens out of this pincushion, okay? So, and my machine takes 5 stitches in place before it takes off. So now when you're zigzagging around something, you want to make sure that the zig part is down when you stop. Up and down, up and down. Is down on the left before you turn. Because if not, you're going to pick it up and you're not going to have any fabric under it when you go to make that turn. The reason I'm telling y'all that is if all you ever do is quilt and do a straight stitch, you're not going to realize that. Okay, so see, it's down. I still got fabric under there, and away we go. Whee! Round and round and round we go. And this is just a little overlock of that, but it's a reinforcement too. Up and down, up and down. And we are back to the beginning. Almost. One more turn. But this is just grabbing all of that bulk and wrapping over the edges. It looks like I missed cutting one. That's okay. I'll get it. Okay, we're coming back to the beginning. them thread tails. Okay. Now I'm going to trim up any excess now that it's all caught. And get that corner I missed. Okay. Now we're going to turn it. Where's my turner? Here's my turner. Let's see if I can get this thing turned without too much fuss. So y'all watching this in real time, I don't know what I'm going to do when I edit it. Disco song is coming on in my head. Turn, baby, turn. Disco Inferno. Turn, baby, turn. Turn that mother round, doo-doo. Turn, baby, turn. Disco Inferno. Turn, baby, turn. All right now. Come on. Just look at it this way. The smaller your hole, the smaller you got to stitch back up when you're done. Because I know y'all are thinking, why did she leave a bigger hole? Because I don't want a big one to have to close back up when I'm done. There we go. Alrighty. You do not do this with scissors. This is why you have a point turner. And I'm just taking my point turner and I'm just running it right along that edge. Push, 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 very gently, very gently. Looky, looky, looky. Isn't that the prettiest thing? You know, I've done one of these one time that was this big. I'll bring it in and show y'all sometime. Maybe, if you're sweet to me. Y'all think just because you don't see me making quilts and throwing them up on the walls that I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, now, looky, looky. All right, now remember that bag of stuffing that went poof when you opened your box? You should have seen me trying to fill them bags of stuffing. It was hilarious. I even laughed at myself. La, 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 la. Well, here's its big brother. Okay, now if you want to, you can, if you have walnut shells, which I don't because I've never used walnut shells. I wouldn't even know where to get walnut shells. Then you could reach in between these two layers, your white and your yellow, and you could put the neck of a little bitty funnel and fill in between there. Or even plastic beads. Now that I'm thinking about it, plastic beads might work for that. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. But if not, then go in between the two. Just reach in there. You got to wiggle a little bit. Wiggle it just a little bit. Okay. This is where I'm going to try to fit my fluff. All right, in between there. See that? In between there. Because that puts a little bit of extra lining on this side. So that's where I'm going to stuff my batting, and then I'm going to close this thing up, and I have a pincushion, and I will share the picture of it with you when I'm done. I won't make you sit here and watch me do my stuffing. Bye-bye.